You know that feeling when you're scrolling through Instagram at 11 p.m. and you see your college friend posting from their new apartment with the marble countertops and floor-to-ceiling windows, and you're sitting there in your perfectly decent place eating leftover takeout, wondering why your life doesn't look like that? And then, like 3 seconds later, you find yourself browsing furniture websites you can't afford, justifying it in your head because you work hard and deserve nice things too. That uncomfortable tightness in your chest, that's not about the apartment. That's about something way more expensive and way more dangerous than any furniture purchase. It's about the invisible social status game your brain is playing 24/7, and honestly, it's the single most expensive addiction in modern life. Most people don't even realize they're trapped in it until they're thousands of dollars in debt with nothing but anxiety to show for it. My name is Sam, and I spend way too much time thinking about money. Specifically, why smart people make financially self-sabotaging decisions just to avoid feeling less than everyone around them. If you're someone who wants to build actual wealth and peace of mind instead of constantly feeling like you're running on a treadmill trying to keep up with people who probably can't afford their lifestyle either, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up, saving you from the most expensive psychological trap of our generation. Most financial gurus will tell you, just stop buying status stuff, make a budget, have more discipline, cut the lattes. And sure, that's technically correct advice, but it completely misses what's actually driving the behavior. Most people think their spending problem is about willpower or math skills, like if they just tried harder, they'd magically stop overspending. The conventional wisdom says you need to track every penny and deny yourself everything fun. But here's the thing they're missing. When you're spending money to maintain a certain image or keep up with your social circle, you're not making financial decisions, you're making survival decisions. Your brain literally thinks buying status is a way to stay safe in the group. And when your nervous system believes your social status is at risk, logic doesn't stand a chance. You're not just buying shoes, you're buying I belong here. You're not just leasing a car, you're leasing I'm not a failure. That's the trap nobody talks about. Here's the core thesis of this entire video, and I want you to really sit with this. You break free from the social status trap when you stop using money to prove who you are and start using it to quietly build the life you actually want. Why does this matter so much psychologically? Because your brain is wired from caveman times to care deeply about status. Back then, low status could literally get you kicked out of the tribe, and if you were alone, you were dead. So your nervous system still reacts to looking poor, almost like a physical threat. That's why you feel that anxiety when you pull up in the older car, or when friends suggest a restaurant you can't afford, or when someone asks what you do for work. Think about it like this. You're playing an invisible video game called Who's Winning at Life, and your brain keeps giving you these status quests: buy nicer clothes, upgrade your phone, get the better apartment, say yes to the expensive trip. But here's where it gets interesting. The game is rigged. There is no windscreen. The second you level up, your brain just moves the goalposts. This becomes a psychological turning point when you realize that the feeling of not enough isn't solved by more stuff, it's solved by stepping out of the game entirely. When you're stuck in the social status trap, your brain operates in constant low-level survival mode. You're not just asking, can I afford this? You're asking, what will people think if I don't? Here's what's actually happening. Research in social psychology shows that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. A Euclid study found that social exclusion lights up your anterior cingulate cortex, literally the pain center. So when you imagine being the only one who doesn't go on the trip or the only one wearing old shoes, your brain screams, avoid pain. Spend the money. Let me give you an example. Sarah is a marketing manager making $65,000 in a city where her friends work in tech, pulling six figures. Every Friday, they go to this trendy restaurant where dinner costs $75 per person. Sarah doesn't love the food, she'd rather cook at home or hit the Thai place where dinner costs $15. But she goes anyway because not showing up feels like social suicide. That's $3,900 per year on Friday dinners she doesn't even enjoy. When Sarah thinks about skipping, she doesn't think I'm saving $75. She thinks they'll think I'm broke or I'll miss the inside jokes. Her brain has reframed a financial decision as a social survival decision. When you live in that mode long term, spending for status doesn't just drain your bank account, it quietly hijacks your nervous system. Now here's where the psychological shift begins. When your identity is, I'm the kind of person who looks successful, your money has to work overtime to maintain that costume. Every purchase becomes a costume piece. The watch, the car, the apartment with the nice kitchen for Instagram. Research in behavioral finance shows that people are far more consistent when their behavior aligns with a chosen identity. So I'm trying to save is weak, but I'm the kind of person who always pays themselves first is strong. I had a friend who always felt like the broke one in their group, so they compensated, always picked up drinks, always had the newest phone, always said yes to every event. Behind the scenes, credit card debt creeping toward 5 figures. One day they finally snapped and realized none of these people know I'm drowning. They just know I'm fun. That was the turning point. They decided they'd rather be the boring friend with breathing room than the fun friend with panic attacks. After that identity shift, saying I'm gonna sit this one out, saving for something stopped feeling like humiliation and started feeling like alignment. When your identity stops being I have to look like something and becomes I'm building something, your need to buy status drops dramatically. Let's talk about how this changes your decision making. When you're in the status trap, you make choices from the outside in, not the inside out. You ask, what will they think? Instead of, what do I actually want long term? There's a concept in psychology called present bias. Your brain massively overvalues immediate rewards versus future rewards. Combine that with social pressure and it's brutal. The short-term reward is, I don't look poor tonight. The long-term cost is months of delayed goals. But your nervous system says future me can deal with that. Right now, I just don't want to feel left out. Picture this. You're close to paying off a credit card. You get invited on a weekend trip that'll cost $600. Rationally, you know that money could accelerate your debt payoff and permanently lower your anxiety. But emotionally, you picture the group photos, the inside jokes you'll miss, being that friend who never goes. So you tap the card again. Sound familiar? Here's where it gets interesting. Once you step out of the status game, no starts feeling like a power move instead of a punishment. When your money is always going toward maintaining an image, you literally cannot see certain opportunities, even when they're right in front of you. The Federal Reserve found that 37% of adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency. If that's you, your brain is always scanning for how do I make it to next week, not what could I build over 5 years. Before you step out of the trap, a job with slightly lower pay but more growth looks scary. Moving somewhere cheaper to save aggressively looks embarrassing. Starting a side business looks unrealistic. After you reclaim money from status spending, suddenly you've got cash saved. You're not living on the edge. Now that lower paying, higher upside job looks viable. That move to reduce costs looks strategic, not shameful. That business idea, you can actually fund it. Think about someone who cuts lifestyle flexing by $400 a month. In a year, they have almost $5,000. With that, they take a certification course, switch industries, and land a job paying $15,000 more annually. When your money isn't locked in the performance of I'm doing fine, it becomes fuel for I'm going somewhere. Here's where the status game gets sneaky. On the surface, it looks like it helps your social life and career. You dress the part, go to events, fit in. Sometimes it does open doors. But living above your means to look successful can quietly trap you in that very job. There's a phrase for this: golden handcuffs. You overextend to match your professional image, nice car, nice apartment, nice everything. Now you need that exact paycheck just to survive. You can't take risks, can't step back, can't say no. A Social Security Administration study found that the average worker stays in jobs they dislike for years, primarily out of financial necessity. Imagine how much of that is tied to lifestyle expectations. Socially, the trap looks like friends who always want to go out, not hang out, birthdays that somehow cost $150, group trips that feel mandatory. At first, you're included, but over time, you start quietly resenting everyone while still saying yes. When you start opting out of the status game, you find out who your real friends are, the ones happy to split a pizza and talk about life who don't need you to perform. Every dollar you spend to maintain status isn't just gone, it's the future echo of that dollar gone. Let's say you're keeping up lifestyle costs an extra $400 a month, $150 eating out to keep up with friends, $100 on clothing beyond basics to stay on trend, $80 for a car upgrade above what you need, $70 on random lifestyle stuff to impress. That's $400 monthly, or $4,800 yearly. Over 10 years, you've spent $48,000. But if you invested that $400 monthly in a simple index fund averaging 7% returns, in 10 years, you'd have around $69,000. In 20 years, approximately $206,000. Even at a smaller scale, redirecting just $100 monthly for 10 years at 7% gives you about $17,000. That's one fewer dinner out per week, one less just to show I'm doing okay purchase. The social status trap doesn't just steal your cash this month, it quietly steals entire options from your future life. But here's where most people mess this up when they try to break free. They go cold turkey, suddenly stop going out, stop buying anything, become the person who always says no. Within 3 months, they're miserable, their friends are annoyed, and they're right back where they started. Except now they feel like failures too. The other mistake is thinking you can willpower your way out. They tell themselves, I'll just be more disciplined without addressing the underlying psychology. But you can't willpower your way out of a need for belonging. That's like trying to willpower your way out of hunger. The third mistake is focusing only on cutting spending, not building a different identity and social environment. So every no feels like rejection, not replacement. The consequence? Burnout, shame, and eventually giving up with the story, I guess I'll always be bad with money. You don't need that narrative. This isn't about becoming someone who never buys anything nice or never goes out. That's not realistic and honestly sounds miserable. This is about becoming the type of person who doesn't need to prove anything with their spending. Instead of thinking I have to stop buying status stuff, try choosing to build walking away money. Walking away money is that cushion that lets you walk away from the job you hate, the friendship that's draining you, the lifestyle that's suffocating you. Here's the reframe. Every $100 has a personality. You can send it to impress people for 24 hours or buy back a tiny piece of your future freedom. Culturally, we've normalized spending for status, financing phones, leasing cars you can't afford, going on trips with zero savings. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates households spend over $3,500 yearly on dining and entertainment. Cut just the status-driven portion, redirect it, and the lifetime impact is massive. You're not depriving yourself when you say no to status spending. You're choosing a different kind of flex, future you being calm, free, and not trapped. Let's do a reality check with some math. Say your status spending looks like this: $150 monthly eating out to keep up, $100 on clothing beyond basics, $80 for an unnecessary car upgrade, $70 on random lifestyle flexing. That's $400 monthly, or $4,800 yearly. Over 10 years, that's $48,000 spent with nothing left. But redirecting that $400 monthly into investing at 7% average returns gives you roughly $69,000 in 10 years, $206,000 in 20 years. Which feels more like real status? Even smaller, $100 monthly for 10 years at 7% equals about $17,000. That's one lifestyle downgrade, one fewer dinner out weekly, one less just to show I'm doing okay purchase. Remember that Federal Reserve stat, almost 4 in 10 people struggle with a $400 emergency. You choosing to reclaim even $100, $200 monthly puts you ahead of average. You're not behind, you're quietly opting out of a very expensive game. The core message here, the social status trap, isn't about you being bad with money. It's about your human brain trying to feel safe in a world that constantly tells you you're not enough. That anxiety, that trapped feeling, totally normal. But they don't have to be permanent. When you stop using money to prove your worth and start using it to build walking away money, breathing room, and real options, you experience a genuine identity shift. You go from, I hope people think I'm doing okay, to, I know I'm building something real, even if nobody sees it yet. You won't transform overnight. You're not going to suddenly stop caring what anyone thinks. The real transformation is more subtle. You say no to one thing you'd have said yes to before. You choose a slightly cheaper version and invest the difference. You have one honest conversation. Hey, I'm prioritizing savings right now. Each of those is a tiny vote for your future self. So here's the choice you get to make, not once, but over and over. Do I want my money to prove something for a day or build something for a decade? Neither answer makes you good or bad, but only one leads to peace of mind, breathing room, and the ability to walk away from what no longer serves you. If this resonates, consider this your quiet pivot point. You don't have to announce it, just start acting like someone who doesn't need to win a rigged status game to feel worthy.